The Eagles coaching situation seems to be becoming much clearer in terms of the candidates. Yesterday, Tuesday, sorry guys, I know this is probably posting on Thursday, but Nick Sirianni, the offensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts, interviewed in Philadelphia. This is a name I very much am in favor of hearing interviewed for the Eagles. This is a guy that may not be that well known, but we all know the relation to Frank Reich here. Let's talk a little bit about the system, the scheme, and the candidacy here, guys. All right, y'all. Let's hit today's topic running, guys. What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, division rivals? This is Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever it is you get around to watching this. Once again, guys, my name is Steven Hyder, and this is Gate City Sports Channel. All right, I think the Eagles list is making sense now, guys. We kind of see where the candidates are. I'm not impressed with necessarily the timing of when we let Doug go and like the scramble it took, but I will say that I do see stability here with the way that they're handling things, like in an unidealized situation that they completely caused. Let's be clear, they did cause it, but they're not out here just completely throwing it to the wind and just interviewing anybody, right? I mean, they're getting guys that make a lot of sense in for interviews, whether they stand a legit shot or not, being in here. But to me, we're seeing a definitive narrative that's kind of completing now, to where we see Deuce Staley and Josh, McDaniels probably being those two leading guys right now. I love the aspects of interviewing guys like Nick Sirianni and Joe Brady. Nick Sirianni, I think, is a much more likely candidate to actually, if he can really turn heads, can maybe get into this conversation. I think we all suspect that Joe Brady would be an exciting hire, but a very much a young coach with a lot of unknowns that could be a Josh McDaniels situation, to where you just put a guy too early in his career into a coaching position, although obviously Joe Brady would not get the same kind of control over personnel that McDaniels got in Denver his first go-around as a head coach. But, I mean, look, I will say that they've done a pretty good job. I mean, we've definitely had some negative moments in this coaching search. We've had guys like Brian Daboll, who may or may not take an interview with the Eagles. There seems to be some backing off of those original quotes. It seems like that what was reported coming out of Houston maybe was a little too early to report that, and that actually members of Buffalo are saying they don't want to lose him, but they don't know anything definitive that he wouldn't take an interview if it was offered. So obviously you guys know Brian Daboll will be really high on my list. So, I mean, I do like the way that, things, we can argue and say, why did you wait so long to call Josh McDaniels in here? You could have done that weeks ago. Why didn't you interview, Greg Roman? I mean, he should get consideration, even if you're not going to hire him because you don't like the direction it would take the team, in terms of it clearly would probably favor one quarterback over the other. I get all that, but I mean, look, I thought they've done a good job of identifying people coming in here. Now, look, we can nitpick it to death and say, yeah, they cast a wide net, though, Steve, so it's kind of easy to say that. Yeah, I'm not in favor of interviewing Dallas's special teams coordinator. I felt like that was a little bit of a reach, but you never know, man. We might need a special teams coordinator, and we might be interviewing him, but at the same time getting names from him of people around the league. You never really know. In addition to that, look, I'll defend the Kellen Moore interview. It's not my ideal hire, but he's a young, offensive-minded guy that, I understand bringing him in for a cup of coffee. I don't think he's a serious candidate, but we're getting some concluding things going on here. All right, guys. Today's topic, we're talking about Nick Sirianni. And, hey, this is a guy that the more I looked into his offense, the more I'm looking into what's going on here. I like this. We're going to head. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to talk about the scheme, the system that he runs there in Indianapolis with Frank Reich. And I'll get into kind of some concluding thoughts, and we'll go into, like, the things that are external to just the scheme and stuff. All right? So, all right, guys, let's get it. All right, ladies and gents, let's talk about Nick Sirianni's system, okay? So Nick Sirianni's system is primarily 11-man mixed in with 12-man personnel, nothing drastically different from what we have in Philadelphia, but little subtle differences that make a world of difference, okay? So to begin with, 69%, 666 plays run out of 11-man, while in return, if you take 12-man, you combine it with 13-man, it's 28%, 21% in 12-man, 8% in 13-man, 202 total plays out of 12-man, 75 plays out of 13-man, so roughly 277 plays in total with more than one tight end on the field, okay? This guy is not heavy two-back sets. So if you take 20, 21, 22, and 23-man personnel, remember, first number being running back, second number being the amount of tight ends on the field, then do your subtraction or addition. You can figure out how many receivers you got here, guys. He's only 1% of plays on the year, 14 on the year. He's not a huge two-back set guy. That's a little, I like two-back sets personally, but I can live because I know the type of production this guy gets out of his team, and I know how well he is at scheming things. He doesn't do a lot of spread, guys. 5 plays on the year where he's running like 2 and 10 personnel. You don't see a lot of like 2 personnel or 10 personnel. 1% of play, actually less than 1%. 5 plays on the year. But he's balanced, guys. Pass run ratio, much more balanced than Doug Peterson, guys. 56% pass, 44% run. Compare that to a 63 to 37% for Doug on the year. Like, big difference here, guys. Like, there's scheme's not drastically different, but it is different. He likes to distribute the ball around the guys, okay? So let's look at the receivers. T.Y. Hilton, Michael Pittman, Zach Pascal, DeMichael Harris, and then Desmond Patton and Paris Campbell make up the majority of what the receiving core is currently. T.Y. Hilton had 56 catches. Michael Pittman had 40. Zach Pascal had 44. All of them were like right around 500 yards or more. Like pretty well distributed passing game there, right? Look at their tight ends. Jack Doyle, Trey Burton, Mo Alley Cox, and even though Noah Togiai, I don't know how you say his name, guys. The guy that was in the Eagles training camp, the undrafted rookie free agent we all liked. Even though he didn't really contribute, they wouldn't pick him up because they knew what this kid was. But Trey Burton, 28 catches on the year, 3 touchdowns. Moe Alley Cox, 31 catches for 2 touchdowns. And then Jack Doyle, 23 for 3. Like, between Doyle, Burton, and Mo Alley Cox, like they put up numbers, guys. There's like 80-some receptions, like somewhere around like 8 touchdowns or so, like on the year from those guys. Like, they distribute the ball really well there. He's really big on trying to find the matchup. This is a matchup guy. He's not like beholden to a particular type of scheme. He's just trying to get the matchup with guys, and he loves to get matchups with his running backs and his tight ends. And there's a video where he really explains all this, and I'll link that video for you guys because it is worth watching. But I'll give you one play here that you can kind of watch, and this will give you some insight to what he is. All right, they're going to come out, guys, and this is not anything we haven't seen before. It's 11-man personnel, 3 receivers, 1 tight end on the field with obviously 1 running back. Hence, you get the 11-man. It's a 2nd and 2, Indianapolis 45, 14-21 to go in the game. They're going to run a mesh concept. If you look at the tight end and the receiver over here, they're running that mesh concept, the underneath crossers, right? It's going to be really funny because they absolutely trip up the defenders on that mesh concept, okay? The running back is going to release into the flats. You can see that there. But what really gets them is how deep that safety is. He works the safety, so he's got a guy pushing vertical who then kind of cuts it back in for a deep in route, but he should have really kept pushing vertical. And then you got your other receiver who's kind of coming along in like a deep, kind of like drag or dig. It's really a dig route. Comes wide open, guys. This is what he's talking about when he says matchups. This is how he creates it. In terms of his running game, guys, he's in what they call a 4-minute mode running game, right? Where he will stay with the run for a duration of time. 4-minute mode basically is a fancy way of saying keeping ahead of the sticks and keeping the chains moving, right? It's about prolonging drives. And if I gave you one play to really illustrate this point, guys, it would be to go ahead and then take a look at a 2nd and 5 on Jacksonville's 15. So now they're deep in Jacksonville's territory, and how he uses a little power, right? He's mostly a zone blocking guy, operating out of shotgun, but right here, man, this is beautiful. This is a beautiful play. And all it is pulling the center through a gap. It's a power play. This is really well illustrated. This is really well set up. Like, they were +1 in the run defense, the Jacksonville Jaguars were, and he was like, I'll see your +1 and I'll create an advantage by pulling through a gap and getting the numbers right. So, nice little wrinkle, nice little play, guys. Concluding thoughts here, guys. Some of the things I can say conclusively about what's going on here is that this is a guy that will speed the quarterback up, okay? He doesn't have a lot of play calling experience. He probably calls some 2-minute stuff like that, but he's not the primary play caller in Indianapolis. Frank Reich is. But he's very good at designing and scheming things. And if you look at his quarterbacks, time in pocket, all right, 228 completions on 302 attempts of under 2.5 seconds. Over 2.5 seconds, right? 141 completions on 241 attempts. That is a negative 61 ratio. This guy will get the ball out of the quarterback's hands. In comparison, you want to know about Carson Wentz this past year, guys? So 200 attempts under 2.5 seconds, 237 attempts over 2.5 seconds. So plus 37 compared to negative 61. Guys, we're talking about a 90 to almost 100 attempt difference between these two. When you factor all that in, like, he's going to speed them up. I like that. I like that about him a lot. Like, get it out of their hands. Design the stuff and get guys open. Take your shots when they're there. He's not going to be as heavy RPO or play actions other guys will be. So, I mean, he's going to differ from McDermott. Wow. It's McDaniels in that way. So he's not going to put his guy under center the way McDaniels does. He's not going to be as heavy play action as McDaniel is, but he still uses play action. He still uses RPO, although he's not to Reed and Kafka and like those guys, and obviously Bieniemy in Kansas City, they're really heavy RPO. Doug's kind of pretty close to what they are in RPOs, but not quite. So there'll be some variance here and there, right? You have to get over the not calling plays thing. Of course, that's a factor, no doubt about it. I like this name. I like what this guy could do with a quarterback. I also think that it helps being attached to Frank Reich and their time in San Diego as well, not just Indianapolis. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think about this guy. I like him, but tell me your thoughts. I want to know what you guys think. All right, peace. I'm out here. I appreciate y'all been watching these videos, man. I know there's a lot of them. Hopefully we get a coach soon, guys, and we can end the coaching search stuff and get into personnel, get into draft picks, get into the cap stuff, all that kind of stuff coming up. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. I appreciate y'all.